Hey, what's up, guys? It's Andrew Santowski, bringing you another prediction video. This time for UFC 278, Usman versus Edwards 2. This event takes place tonight, Saturday, August 20th, 2022. It's going. The prelim start at 6:30. Pay-per-view starts at 10. I don't know. I'm not really too enthused about this pay-per-view, guys. Salt Lake City. High altitude. You know, there's going to be some fluky stuff that happens tonight with some of the fights. It's just how it goes with some of these high altitude cards. So we'll see how things play out, guys. But let's start with the prelims. Victor Altamarino against Daniel Da Silva. You know, I picked Daniel Da Silva in his last outing against Figueiredo. He let me down. This guy's let me down twice in his UFC career. He's 0-2, so he's probably fighting for his job here. And, you know, he's a finish or lose guy, you know, whether he gets a quick finish or he loses. And right now he's 0-2 in the UFC. Victor Altamarino. I picked this guy in his last fight, too, and he lost against Carlos Hernandez. Split decision. I'm going to side with Victor Altamarino here, man. He's got to survive the early blitz from Daniel Da Silva, who's good, you know, who throws wild combinations and has good submission ability. But I think Victor Altamarino, I think he's a -170 for a reason here, guys. On Bet Online. I just think he's probably the better overall fighter. He's just got to survive an early first-round scare. So my pick will be Altamarino. Ayourkaling, the Chinese fighter against Jay Perrin. I sided with Jay Perrin here, man. This shouldn't be a good fight. Jay Perrin's only got one UFC fight. He lost to Mario Batista. We know how good Mario Batista is. There's no shame in that. I think, so he's out of Sitio Tung. I think he was training out of Sitio Tung. He might be out of Vegas now. But you know, he fought in the Northeast regional scene. Ayourkaling, he's coming off a nice win over Cameron Else. We know Else really isn't UFC caliber. Beat Else. Lost to Cody Durden. Cody Durden's a tough out for guys, man, that aren't ready for him. But he still carried himself well, in my opinion. Lost to Jeff Molina. No shame in that. Jeff Molina, we know how good this guy is at flyweight. So, and Ayourkaling, he needs to be fighting at, definitely needs to be fighting at bantamweight. I'm going to side with Jay Perrin here, man, but there's been so much money that's coming in on Perrin that Ayourkaling might, I can see it being tempting for guys to bet here, but I'm still going to side with Jay Perrin here. Amir Albazi against Francisco Figueiredo. You know, I got Albazi, man. We've been waiting to see this guy come back. I hate to admit it, but I was actually one of the guys that bet on Malcolm Gordon against this guy in his UFC debut. What a mistake that was. Shameful. And we haven't seen this guy fight in a while. We haven't seen him fight since January of 2021. It's been a long time. So, and I mean, I've picked this guy one time and he's lost for me. So, you know, I'm on him here against Francisco Figueiredo. Davidson's, I believe it's his younger brother. It could be his older brother, but I'm just not really high on Francisco Figueiredo. He's got a couple wins. He lost to Malcolm Gordon, though. So, but who knows, man? Like I said, this altitude stuff, there could be some flaky stuff that happens. But Albazi, he's sitting at a -500 right now, so he's a 5-1 favorite. I'm going to side with Albazi here to pick up this win. But, man, guys, nothing fluky will surprise me. AJ Fletcher against Ange Lusa. When these guys matched up at the face-offs, I was really surprised how, you know, I thought AJ Fletcher would look like the smaller guy or the shorter, but it looked like they matched up quite well height-wise. They're both built. AJ Fletcher is really built. I'm going to start with AJ Fletcher here, man. I'm going to say he carries his price tag. His -158 price tag, and picks up a decision win here. Sean Woodson against Luis Saldana. Was just not really impressed by Luis Saldana his last fight. I had Bruno Silva picked against him. What a disappointing fight that was, guys. I'm just not really high on this guy. He just doesn't have a lot of output. They're putting up against an output machine in Sean Woodson. This guy throws tons of volume, and I am going to side with Sean Woodson here. Jared Gordon against Leonardo Santos. And I see a lot of people taking Leonardo Santos, and I get it, man. I mean, this guy has a huge reach advantage in this fight against Jared Gordon. He's the older fighter. He's 42 years old, and he's lost badly. We know this altitude is gonna gas this guy bad. The question is, can Leo Santos finish Jared Gordon before he gasses out? He's a plus 220 dog. I understand guys taking a shot on this guy. This guy was money for a really long time. Even though he was very inactive throughout his UFC career, he hadn't lost up until a certain point. Jared Gordon, he flirted with featherweight for a while. Just couldn't do it. Couldn't make the weight. Lost to Grant Dawson here in the third round. No shame in that. I'm going to side with Jared Gordon here, man. I mean, his last loss besides Grant Dawson was to Charles Oliveira, and we know how good the champ is. I'm going to side with Jared Gordon here, but he's going to have to be very careful early on. Marcin Tybura against Alexander Romanov, and this is a fight that I'm on Tybura here. He's a big underdog, and I understand guys taking Romanov, and I understand the other guys taking Tybura like me. You know, this is a prospect test for Romanov, man. Can this guy, get past a guy that's higher in the rankings than in Marcin Tybura here? And it is possible. Romanov is weighed in a little less than Tybura. Tybura came in at 252. I believe Romanov came in at like 240. 239 and a half. But this is a fight that Romanov uses a lot of energy. Tybura is a little more plodding, a little slower, but he's very well rounded, man. Great stand up, great submissions, and I think that I just see Marcin Tybura kind of survive in the early storm. I mean, I was on Marcin Tybura 6 years ago when he knocked out Victor Pesta, man. That was one of my biggest bets that night. He came through, and I'm gonna say Tybura comes through here. Tyson Pedro against Harry Hunsucker. Again, the guys, there's just something in me there's something that won't surprise me about the outcome of this fight, nor the outcome of some of these main card fights. Tyson Pedro minus 800 against Harry Hunsucker. That's cutting down to light heavyweight for the first time. And Hunsucker made weight, though. But I'm going to side with Tyson Pedro here. I mean, the UFC definitely wants another Australian star. And Tyson Pedro looked like he was going to be that several years ago, and then he went on a few-year break. I'm going to side with Tyson Pedro here, but guys, no result in this fight will surprise me. Lucy Putilova against Yanan Wu. Just not really high on Putilova, guys. Man, she lost an octagon to Talita Bernardo. And Yanan Wu, I mean, I could see this fight going to the ground and her pulling off a sub. Like I said, nothing will surprise me in this fight. Maybe Putilova just keeps this fight standing and just outpoints her. But, Putilova was fighting at, I believe, flyweight in her UFC debut. So this fight's at bantamweight, at women's bantamweight. So, like I said, she was fighting at flyweight in her UFC tenure. And maybe that was too much weight for her to cut. Maybe she's evolved, but she couldn't handle it at flyweight. So I'm skeptical she can do it at bantamweight, but we'll find out. But my pick will be Yanan Wu here. Jose Aldo against Merab Dvalishvili. I'm like a lot of guys, man. I'm on Aldo in this fight. I don't really understand how Merab is going to beat this guy if he cannot get the takedowns. I mean, Aldo is going to piece this guy up on the feet. Yeah, Merab might throw volume in round one in that, but I mean, Aldo was calculated, man, and you're not going to take this guy down. I don't see him taking Aldo down, and if he does get him down, he's not going to hold him down. So I don't really understand it. I'm really trying to understand how Merab is a minus 140 here. I don't get it. My pick will be Jose Aldo to pick up a win here, and hopefully he fights for the bantamweight belt next. Paulo Costa against Luke Rockhold. Who isn't looking forward to this fight? A lot of hype on both these guys at the weigh-ins all fight week with the things they've been saying. You saw the test at Costa, day of the weigh-ins. Rockhold's been going off on UFC paying Dana White This is very exciting, guys. I would love to see Luke Rockhold win this fight. My pick is Paulo Costa by first round knockout. Luke's chin has me very worried. But I would love to see Luke Rockhold get back on a winning streak, become a middleweight contender again. I would love to see that, but I'm going to side with Paulo Costa here by first round knockout. Kamaru Usman against Leon Edwards. Originally, I was looking for a reason to pick Edwards here. I just can't. I think Usman's the better fighter. I mean, we've seen Leon Edwards choke up at the press conference. Kamaru Usman, this guy's on weight, on point, looking the part. Per usual, I've doubted this guy time and time again. I'm not doubting Kamaru Usman here until this guy loses, man. My pick will be Kamaru Usman to defend his welterweight championship, guys. So my picks, real quick, guys. Usman, Costa, Aldo, Wu, Pedro, Tybura, Gordon, Woodson, Fletcher, Albazi, Perrin, and Altamarino.